Son, you're about to make a decision that could change everything. And I'm not talking about something ordinary, human advice, just another message among so many you've heard. I'm talking about heaven's last attempt to reach your heart before something happens that cannot be undone. You may not understand it now, you may think it's just another video, but I, the Almighty, tell you, if you ignore this word, you will suffer a loss you will bitterly regret. Have you ever felt that unexplained? A weight on your chest, that anguish that comes out of nowhere, the repeated delays, the doors that slam in your face. None of this is by chance. I've been speaking, I've been signaling, I've been shouting into your silence, but you've been pretending not to hear. You've been living as if time were on your side, but it isn't anymore. I've waited long enough. I've insisted with love. I've allowed situations to awaken you. But now, son, we're at a point where the next step is yours, and it needs to be taken now. Because if you continue in this indifference, in this neglect of what is sacred, what's to come will be too heavy to bear later. You've ignored signs, postponed decisions, closed your eyes to spiritual warnings. And yet, out of mercy, I'm still here. I keep talking to you. But this is the last time. It's the final call before the pain arrives. You need to understand. There is something precious about to be ripped away if you don't listen. Something that was prepared with love, that carried its promise, that would come as an answer to your cry, but that can be diverted because of your stubbornness. Son, listen. This is your last call, and there will be no other. But before you think that everything is lost, I need to show you why heaven still insists on you. And if at any point in this message something inside you begins to burn, if you feel that these words have reached your heart, then stay until the end. And, if they make sense, subscribe and leave a like. Not as if you were just watching a video, but as if you were silently saying, Father, I have heard, and I choose to return while there is still time. You're still here because, even though you try to appear strong, there's a pain inside you that no one can see clearly. You kept smiling on the outside, but inside you slowly faded, like a candle burning silently until everything turns to darkness. I saw the moment you lay down at night and tried to hide your tears in the pillow so no one would notice. I watched you try to pray but couldn't find the strength, and all you could do was sigh, and yet even tired, you keep telling yourself you'll figure it out, that you'll get up on your own, as if your soul hadn't been crying out for help for ages. You've been carrying weights not meant for you. You've endured old guilt, memories that still haunt you, and promises that seemed to be coming, but never did. And every time you thought things would get better, something pulled you back to that dark place where it seems no one hears you, where your prayers seem to echo in a closed sky. And no matter how much you try to convince yourself it's just a phase, deep down, you know you're more lost than you'd like to admit. And that's why I, the Almighty, have come to find you here now in the midst of your chaos, because only I know the places where you've broken. I know about those wrong decisions you made, trying to get it right. I saw you trust people who only knew how to hurt. I also saw the times when you tried to rebuild yourself, frequented places of faith, read words of hope, but inside you something always told you something was still missing, as if the connection between heaven and your soul had been severed. And the truth is, son, you've been living on the edge between believing and giving up, and I can't allow you to give up now. You're tired, I know. You're overwhelmed inside. You don't know whether to pray, cry, scream, or simply give up. But the reason you're still listening to this, the reason your soul hasn't turned off this video, is because there's a part of you that still believes. Even small, even wounded, even nearly erased, it still cries out for a chance to start over. And that's why I came to talk to you today, because the time has come for you to know something that will change everything. You are not alone in this battle. And no matter how lost everything seems, there is still a voice calling your name, and that voice will reveal something to you now that you can never ignore. Let me ask you something honestly. Have you also been feeling a tightness in your chest, a tiredness that not even sleep can resolve, as if something inside you was silently asking for help? If this pain has been with you, comment here, I'm feeling this, please. Because recognizing the symptom is the first step towards the healing that heaven wants to begin today. Son, I didn't bring you here by chance. I didn't let this message cross your path without reason. Everything was meticulously guided by my spirit, so that at this very moment you would have your ears open and your soul sensitive enough to hear me. And before your mind tries to rationalize or say this is just another coincidence, I need you to understand clearly. This word was written for you. Yes, for you who are watching now with a restless heart, with agitated thoughts, with the feeling that something needs to change, but still unsure of where to begin. You may have clicked on this video out of curiosity by chance or because someone sent it to you, but I assure you with all heavenly authority, I was the one who allowed you to get here, because I know your soul, your choices, your shortcuts, your silences. I know the way you pretend everything is fine, while inside you feel like someone screaming underwater, and there is no spiritual filter that can hide from me the cracks that have opened within you lately. How many times have you thought I had gone silent? How many times have you felt your prayers were being thrown to the wind? How many nights have you spent questioning whether there was still time, whether there was still a chance, whether there was still a purpose? And even with all these questions, something inside you wouldn't let you give up completely. Because the faith I planted in you may have been stifled, but never uprooted. It's still there. And that's why I've brought you here today. Because that faith, even as small as a mustard seed, was enough to move me to you. You asked for a sign. And this video is the answer. You asked for a word impossible to ignore, something so specific, so clear, so direct, that there would be no doubt in your heart. For here it is. I, the Lord, am calling you now. And if you've listened this far, it's because you were chosen to hear. Many passed by but didn't stay. Many started but didn't endure. But you remained. And there's a reason for that. Because this message carries a call that only you can answer. Nothing being said here is generic. Every sentence was crafted to reach you. Every word was shaped to break through the layers of your resistance. And now that your soul has begun to recognize your Father's voice, I need to deliver something to you that will confront you, but also set you free. Because what I'm about to reveal to you now is serious, and time is running out. Tell me honestly, have you also been experiencing days where no one notices your struggle, but inside you're at your limit, trying not to break down? If this has been your reality, comment here. I'm fighting in silence, because sometimes just knowing you're not alone, new strength begins to be born within your soul. Son, it's not easy for a father to say he's done waiting. It's not simple for me to look at you and know that if you continue walking the way you are, what will come upon your life will be pain, loss, and silence. But I am just, and out of love, I need to tell you now, with the seriousness the moment demands, the time of waiting is coming to an end. And what you do with this word will determine what happens next. You think you still have time, that you can keep putting off decisions until tomorrow, dodging spiritual commitments, harboring hidden sins, postponing changes I've long requested. But you don't realize that the enemy is using this extra time as a strategy to numb your conscience, dull your sensitivity, and keep you distracted enough that you don't realize you're being pulled little by little away from the path I've laid out for you. I have spoken in many ways. I have used people, dreams, messages, pain, and even silence to try to wake you. I have shown you that certain doors closed not by chance, but for protection. I have allowed some things to collapse around you, not to punish you, but to show you that the foundation was flawed. But still, you resisted. Still, you chose to remain silent in the face of what I asked you to confront. You chose the comfort of the familiar over the obedience that saves. And now, before this final call, I tell you with all the weight of eternity, if you continue to ignore it, the loss will be irreversible. This loss won't just be material. I'm not talking about money, position, or status. I'm talking about something much more precious, the promise that was prepared for you before your birth. I'm talking about a path that was designed with tears, sacrifice, and blood, and that, if you continue to be rejected, will be given to another. Because I am a God who loves, but I'm also a God who moves the kingdom forward. You were not created to live in this indifference. You were not chosen to live on the fence. I did not form you to merely survive, afraid to commit, afraid to surrender, too lazy to obey. I formed you to live with purpose, with power, with spiritual intensity, and now the time has come to take a stand. The time has come to tell me, with actions and not just words, whether you are with me or not. I know you might be scared. I know there's a part of you that thinks you can't do it, that you've already failed too much, sinned too much, gone too far. But listen, it's not too late. There's still time, but there won't be much longer. This is the threshold. This is the border between mercy and consequence. This is the last station before the train moves on without you. You can choose to leave this video now. You can ignore it. You can distract yourself. You can pretend this didn't happen to you, but know that if you do, heaven will be witness that you were warned, that you received a direct, clear, loving and fair word. And when loss comes, you will remember this moment, this voice, these words, and you will know it wasn't a lack of love. It was your choice. But if you choose to listen, if you allow this word to penetrate the barrier of your reason, if you allow my spirit to break the resistance of your pride, then prepare yourself. Because what I still have to reveal to you goes beyond what you can imagine. And now that you've heard the warning, I need you to listen to me more deeply, because what I say next will no longer be a warning. It will be a declaration from my mouth to your soul. I am the Lord, the one who saw you in the womb, the one who wrote your story before you even took your first breath. I am the one who protected you when you didn't realize you were being protected. I am the one who prevented silent tragedies, who intervened in rash decisions, who hid you from the eyes of evil when everything around you seemed to be crumbling. And yet, even with everything I did in silence, you still doubted my love. You still questioned my presence. You still thought I had left you alone. But I was never far away. I never turned my face away. I never took my eyes off you. Even when you walked away, even when you chose the easy path, even when you harbored sins in secret, I was there. Not applauding your choices, but weeping inside, because I saw where it would lead you. And now, with eternity half open before you, I speak clearly, bluntly, because the stakes are not small. It is your destiny. It is your essence. It is your calling. And the time to decide is slipping away like dust between your fingers. You were formed with a purpose. You are not a work of chance. There is a mark upon your life, and that mark screams to the heavens every time you hide from me. I chose you when no one knew you. I loved you when no one believed in you. I saw what you carried inside when even those closest to you called you exaggerated, oversensitive, lost. But I knew the heart, and that is why I preserved you. Son, stop running away. You weren't created to live on the run. You weren't shaped to always be running from decisions, from deep conversations, from internal confrontations. I raised you with courage, with identity, with a strong soul. But the world, the traumas, the disappointments, the emotional addictions, all of this has tried to erase who you are in me. And today, with love and power, I come to restore the memory of who you were before pain disfigured you. You need to stop hiding behind masks. I already know you. I know exactly who you are when no one is looking. I know the struggle you wage against the thoughts no one sees. I know the falls you've never confessed to anyone. I know the desire to give up that you've never dared to say out loud. But even so, through it all, I keep saying, you are mine. You are my child. You are my chosen one. And even if you've broken promises, even if you said you'd change and haven't, I'm still here with the door ajar, waiting for a gesture of return. Because I am the God who loves until the very end. I am the Father who extends his arms even when his Son deliberately turns away. I am the Redeemer who goes to the end of the road to rescue those who have lost their way. But I am also just. And justice demands limits. Justice demands definition. And the time for definition has come. Either you come or you lose. Either you listen or you remain silent. Either you take a stand or you will be swept away by the current of what has already begun to rise against you. Don't think this is just spiritual talk. This is a war for your soul, for your purpose, for your lineage, for the people who depend on your obedience to be freed. Because yes, there are people who will only be freed when you rise up. There are people who will only be healed when you decide to return. There is a generation connected to your yes. And every time you resist, you delay not only your story, but the move I have prepared through your life. You think you're alone, but I surround you on every side. I speak through the details, the smiles you receive, the doors that close, the nights that seem endless. I speak through the discomfort, the restlessness, the emptiness that not even 1,000 voices can fill. And I speak now, more powerfully than ever, because this is the last opportunity, before the sky falls silent. And if the sky falls silent, who will be able to reach you afterward? I am the Lord. I am the one who restores. I am the one who heals. I am the one who raises. But I am also the one who says, enough. Enough of ignoring. Enough of playing with the sacred. Enough of feeding on distractions while your soul empties. Today I place before you life and death, blessing and loss. Therefore choose life. Therefore choose truth. Therefore choose obedience, and I will honor you. But before I give you what I promised, I need you to hear something. Something that comes not just from my mouth, but from my living word. And what is written in it will prove to you that everything you have heard so far is true. It is written, "Seek the Lord while he may be found. Call upon him while he is near." Isaiah 55:6. And today, I affirm with all my heavenly authority, I'm still close. But the time for this closeness is running out. And that's why I'm calling you with such force, with such intensity, with such love, because there's a spiritual window open, and it won't stay that way for long. I did not leave this word recorded by chance. I knew the time would come when my people would become distracted, when hearts would grow cold, when the sacred would become banal for many. And in that time, in a time of spiritual coldness, of indifference, of religiosity without intimacy, I left a warning. I left a key. I left an invitation with a deadline. I left Isaiah 55:6 as a siren to the Spirit. Seek me while there is time. Call upon me while I am near. Because there is a moment when I draw near to touch you. There is a cycle where my Spirit whispers, where my presence reveals itself, where the doors open wide for you to enter. But if you reject, if you procrastinate, if you despise this moment, that door closes. And when it closes, nothing else answers. Not prayer, not fasting, not empty promises. Because the time you had to seek, you wasted on distractions. And the time you had to listen to me, you preferred to listen to other voices that distanced you from me. I am not an absent God. I am present. But I am also holy. And my holiness does not coexist with the coldness of those who merely visit me, but do not honor me with their actions. This word is harsh, I know, but I left it recorded so that no one would be deceived, so that no distracted heart would later say, I didn't know. Because you know. You are listening. You are aware. And now, your soul is being confronted by the living truth. Look around you. Realize how much the world has tried to make you forget that there is a God. See how everything has distracted you, how everything has weakened you spiritually, how priorities have changed, how the fire of faith no longer burns as it once did. And yet I came. Still I sought you. Still I brought you this reminder, there is a limit. Another verse I carry in my heart for this moment is Hebrews 3:15. Today, if you hear his voice, do not harden your hearts. And that is the most loving exhortation I can give right now. Do not harden your heart. Don't let this word pass by like it's just another video. Because every sentence, every breath, every pause was inspired to reach your soul exactly where it is right now. You can't keep ignoring it. You can't keep neglecting the call. You can't hide your resistance behind excuses any longer. My Spirit is speaking to you. And if you close your heart, if you remain silent to this voice, if you treat this as something ordinary, the time you have left will slip away without you even realizing it. And when you try to seek me again, you will feel what many have felt, heaven in silence. But if you seek me now, truly, sincerely, surrenderedly, with a heart stripped of masks, Then you will feel what many have forgotten: the warmth of my presence, the thrill of my touch, the reassurance of my voice, the peace that only I can give, because I am still here, I am still near, but I need your answer before this atmosphere changes. Son, Scripture does not lie, the Word is alive, and everything you are hearing now was prophesied for this time. Do not harden your hearts, because if you listen, and if you respond, then what is about to be revealed will show you that what seemed lost can still be restored. Son, you've never fought just feelings. This war you feel inside isn't just emotional. These ups and downs, these relapses that seem to pull you back every time you try to get up. This numbness that hits right at the moment of prayer. This discouragement that covers you like a blanket when you think about truly changing. None of this is normal. There's a fight being waged for your soul, and it's more intense than you can imagine. What you feel as confusion, doubt, and spiritual laziness is actually the consequence of darts thrown at you. The enemy has done everything he can to numb your conscience. He doesn't want you to fall all at once. He prefers you to drift away little by little without realizing it. And it's working. He uses distractions, people, old wounds, memories that weaken you, and even harmless routines to keep you away from me. He doesn't need you to deny your faith with words. He just needs you to deny it with silence. Have you ever noticed how difficult it is to maintain constancy when it comes to spiritual matters? Have you noticed how your mind closes down, how your thoughts become jumbled when you try to focus on me? This is no coincidence. This is resistance. And this resistance doesn't just come from within, it also comes from without. There's a force at work in the unseen realms, trying to stifle your sensitivity, harden your heart, shut off your spiritual hearing, making you think it's okay to live on autopilot. I reveal this not to frighten you, but to open your eyes. Because many, by ignoring this spiritual reality, have become hostages to patterns that were never theirs. They began to accept thoughts that were not born within them. They began to believe lies that were whispered in the silence of their souls, and without realizing it, they began to live a dull life, without purpose, without passion, without authority. And this is the enemy's plan: to keep you weakened, complacent, dependent on what is shallow, far from what I have planned. But I am revealing this to you today so that you know you are not fighting alone. There is an army of heaven on alert because of you. Every time you tried to pray, even without strength, there was spiritual movement. Every time you sighed, "Lord, help me," I commanded angels around you. Every time you were tempted to fall and held on by a thread, heaven celebrated. Because I see every detail, I count every battle, and none is too small to escape my eyes. But there is something you need to understand maturely. I can only fight for you if you are positioned on my side. I can't protect someone who insists on opening gaps. I can't act where there's an alliance with sin. I can't restore while you insist on justifying what you already know you need to abandon. Your freedom is one step away from repentance. Your victory is an act of surrender. But until you decide to break free from what binds you, you will continue to live in the cycle of falling, guilt, promises, and relapses. Your mind has been a battlefield, and too often you've believed the lies that have been thrust upon you. Thoughts like, "You won't change," "It's too late," "You're not worthy," "God has grown tired of you." None of these thoughts come from me. They are well-disguised lies placed to weaken your faith and distance you from my presence. And today, with my voice, I break these words upon you. Because I never said it was too late. I never said you were unworthy. I never gave up on transforming you. You just need to open your eyes. Because what's holding you back isn't stronger than the one calling you. What's trying to silence you isn't more powerful than the voice speaking to you. Now, you need to rise up. Not in your own strength, but in mine. Because this invisible battle won't be won by human effort, but by obedience. And from the moment you truly say yes, what was paralyzing you will lose control of your life. I am giving you discernment. I am revealing to you what lies behind the veil. And now that your eyes are opened, you will need to take a visible step, because faith without practical answers is powerless. And the next step is yours. So, son, if everything you've heard so far has touched your soul, if every word seems written for you, if your mind is awake and your heart is silent as if recognizing the Father's voice, then don't just listen. Now is the time to respond. To open your mouth, to say with your own voice what your soul has already understood. Because there is power when you declare, when you align yourself with what heaven is saying, when you break the cycle of resistance and let faith manifest itself not only in your feelings, but also in your words. Silence can be reverence, but today it's not enough. Today I need you to speak. I need you to express with words what you once only felt inside. Because something moves in the spiritual world when a child decides to take a stand, when a chosen one decides to respond to the voice of their God with conviction and surrender. So say it with me, wherever you are. It doesn't matter if you're alone, at home, at work, on the street, or in your room. Just say it with truth, with courage, with humility. Lord, I have heard your voice, and today I don't just want to feel, I want to obey. I acknowledge that I resisted, that I postponed, that I hid. But now, before your presence, I declare, I am returning. I am choosing you again. I now break with everything that kept me away. I reject the lies, I abandon the hidden sins, I break the bonds that bound me. And I declare that I am yours, not only in words, but in life. I receive your forgiveness, and I accept your call. And even without strength, I take the first step. Guide me from now on, because I have decided I no longer want to live far from you. This declaration, if made with faith and repentance, unlocks something in the unseen, and you will feel something begin to change. But there is something even more powerful that heaven wants to show you now, something that is not for everyone. It is a profound spiritual revelation, and it will be released only to those who remain until the end. Son, if you've made it this far, it's because something within you has awakened. Even with all the rush of the day, with the noises of your mind trying to distract you, with the commitments that could have stopped you midway, you chose to continue. You chose to remain. And more than that, you chose to listen with your heart. And those who remain until the end of a word like this do not leave empty. Because there is a kind of revelation that I do not pour out on the hurried crowd, nor on the momentary curious, but rather on those who endure the intensity of my voice, even when it confronts, even when it touches wounds you'd rather keep hidden. I see how hard you've tried to keep everything under control, how hard you've strived to be strong for others, even while carrying deep doubts no one knows about. And now that you've come this far, I tell you clearly, you didn't come alone. It was my spirit that guided you to this moment. It was heaven that aligned you for this conversation, because there is still something very important that needs to be revealed and concerns your home. This isn't just about comfort or motivation. What I'm going to show you in the next video is a spiritual secret, a revelation that carries profound implications for your family, your home, and environments that have been silently dominated by forces you haven't yet fully understood. Perhaps you've felt lately that something is out of place, that there's constant tension within your home, that there are repetitive cycles of sadness, confusion, or even illness. And no matter how much you pray, it seems like something resists. Son, this resistance has a spiritual root, and that is what I'm going to reveal to you. But before we go any further, I need you to understand something essential. Not every struggle you face is visible. Not every burden you feel is of natural origin. There are spiritual environments influenced by past decisions, by words spoken without wisdom, by emotional alliances that have opened breaches. There are spiritual shadows acting on homes, on generations, on broken promises. And your home? It is a disputed territory. My son, perhaps you are the only one in your home who has sought spiritual discernment. Perhaps you are the only person in your family who still prays, still fasts, still believes. And because of this, you have been carrying a burden that was not meant to be yours alone. But I want to tell you something today. You are not fighting alone. Heaven is strengthening you for this battle. And what I will reveal to you in the next video will give you the spiritual weapons to break once and for all with what has been preventing your home from flourishing. This next revelation will not be generic. It will not be superficial. It will come with weight, with clarity, with direction. But to receive it, you must be willing to look with the eyes of the Spirit and not the flesh. Because what will be revealed may surprise you. It may move you. It may even hurt at first, but will be liberating. It will be like turning on the light in a room where you've always groped in the dark, bumping into invisible obstacles. Everything that seemed confusing will fall into place. Everything you didn't understand about the behaviors within your home, the attacks that always arise at the same times, the stagnation that plagues your family despite all your effort. Everything will be clarified. Don't underestimate what's about to be revealed. Don't ignore the call that's echoing within your spirit now. The enemy knows what's about to happen, and so he'll try to distract you, make you forget, and make you postpone. He'll whisper thoughts like, "I'll see about that later. It's probably not for me. It's just another video." But I warn you with love, don't put it off, don't get distracted, don't get absent. There is something moving spiritually around you, and this movement can still be reversed if you are careful. The next video will be like a mirror. You'll see yourself there. You'll hear stories and words that seem to describe exactly what you've been experiencing. And this recognition won't be accidental. It will be prophetic confirmation. And when you hear what I will yet reveal, everything that didn't make sense until now will become clear. You will understand why certain doors closed, why some promises were delayed, why some relationships became ill. And you will receive instructions from heaven to begin the process of healing and restitution. But for that, you need to come with me to where I'm calling you, because the next step is decisive. What I have to tell you carries a spiritual urgency that cannot be ignored. There are things that have not yet been revealed in this video for a reason, because they are not for everyone. They are for those who remain, for those who listen with the Spirit, for those who truly desire to break through. Son, this message you've heard so far was the initial unlocking. It was the door being ajar. But what comes next is the dive, and only those who trust will dive in. Only those who desire more than momentary relief will dive in. Those who desire liberation, restoration, reconnection with purpose. That's why, don't stop here. Click on the next video, because what I will still reveal to you is sacred, and it's about to change everything. Son, I know not everything said here was easy to hear. I know there were times when you thought about stopping, about closing the video, about running away from the confrontation. Because certain truths touch where it hurts, where it bleeds, where it hasn't yet healed. But you stayed. You listened until the end. You bore the weight of the truth because deep down you know it was out of love. Because I only confront those I love. I only call back those who have eternal value to me. I only insist on those I carry as a promise. And now I bless you, not just with beautiful words, but with the authority of heaven. I bless your mind, that it may once again discern what is holy. I bless your heart, that it may once again beat in time with my voice. I bless your steps, that they may no longer stray into paths of deception. And I declare, all confusion that has kept you paralyzed is now being dispelled. All guilt that held you back in the past is being shattered. All spiritual resistance is being undone. You are too precious to continue living less than I planned. And if you understood this, if you felt that this word was God's answer to you, then don't return to silence. Share this, testify, and remain where my voice continues to reach you. Before leaving, subscribe here to this channel, because this prophetic journey is just beginning. There are more messages like this being prepared in heaven to reach you, and each new word will be like a step back to the center of my will. Activate the bell so you don't miss any direction, because believe me, the coming days will be decisive. I am the Lord. I love you, and I will still surprise you with grace, deliverance, and a fulfilled promise.